And welcome back to the Dean Obeidallah Show. Right now, very happy to have back on the show Frank Figliuzzi. You see him all the time on MSNBC and NBC, FBI Assistant Director, formerly NBC News National Security Analyst, author of the book, The FBI Way, Inside the Bureau's Code of Excellence, and a man in great demand. He's in great demand. He's in between interviews on MSNBC and Lester Holt on NBC doing this. So Frank, thank you for squeezing us in. I appreciate it. So Frank, I got a bunch of questions for you. So we'll go as long as we can in time, but we'll get you out. We want you going Lester Holt. First of all, I want your reaction. First, last night I get done with my show, 9 p.m., breaking news, New York Times, 300 classified documents or more taken from Mar-a-Lago. Today, we learned from a document that's now been confirmed by various news agencies. It's actually over 700 pages of classified documents taken from Trump first in the first batch that he delivered, and then 2 other times they went there. Just what's your reaction to the mass number of documents? And so it's clear for people. Can you tell people classified in this case? Does it say classified on each page? Is it very clear what we're talking about?
Yeah, so look, number one, it's worse than we thought, which, as you know, Dean, is often the case when we're talking about the former president. Number two, this really shows the lie with regard to any defense that, this was a few documents that got slipped in with my photos of my kids, and, you know, I didn't know it was there. No. And also, it really helps me with this timeline, because people who say, man, they quickly jumped right to a search warrant, you know, which you'll hear on other networks, by the way. Yep. You know, if you're faced with 700 pages of classified documents, by the way, they're often clearly marked. I mean, there are certain rules, particularly when you get to top secret, and classified documents are marked by paragraph. Just to show you the detail, there's a little parentheses at the start of every paragraph that tells you it's either S or TS, or even a string of letters that tells you the code name, you know, abbreviation and the category, all of that, top and bottom headers, Dean. So there's no way you can confuse this. Now, I've seen this in espionage cases, has he chopped off the headers? I've seen people put whiteout on the classification markings. I don't know, but I know this is not happenstance. It's not an accident. The movers didn't do it by accident. We've got reports now that he was looking himself at the document. So now there goes willful intent, right? Understanding someone's told you they're classified. They're not yours. You got to give them back. You've looked at them yourself. Things are starting to shape up. We're now getting glimpses of what was going on in Washington. And I'll tell you this, I'm beginning to think that they didn't move fast enough in Washington. Now we're learning from this letter that's been exposed today from National Archives, right, to the Trump lawyer, you know, we're really serious about coming down there. We might be doing something. And, you know, it's been 4 weeks since we've heard from you. And just to defer to you, we haven't let the FBI look at anything yet. My God, really? So I don't know if they moved fast enough.
There's something with the timeline in that letter. It's not like, wow, what's going on? But the letter said, we won't turn this over until like May 12th. And the public reporting, and I went back to it because I remembered there was reporting in April that there was an investigation that had begun, not the grand jury yet, but things were bubbling up. So apparently DOJ was told, we got a lot of classified documents. They may not have seen what was in it, but it was so alarming that even without seeing it, DOJ, if the public reporting's got to be right, because now it all fits in correctly in timeline. In April, DOJ was beginning something, and by May, it seems like there was a grand jury impaneled. I don't know how long it takes to impanel a grand jury. I never dealt with grand juries, but can you move that swiftly, just in a couple of weeks, get a grand jury?
Oh, sure, because, you know, there's regularly scheduled. So first of all, it depends on how you want to do this. You can have a grand jury that's just dedicated to your one case.
Okay.
And there's always a pool out there that you can use, and you can assemble them. But you can also, in a hurry, just go to a grand jury that's sitting and hearing other cases and issuing warrants. And, you know, they do lots of things, these grand juries. They can walk and chew gum at the same time, and in different cases. And you can come in and go, you know, we need this, we need that from you. So yeah, absolutely. But I continue to say there's a minimum of 4 weeks, if not months, that went by where the FBI could have had access to these documents from the archives, did not. And what would they have done? Well, I think they would have started to fingerprint the documents, Dean, because
What is that?
fingerprint the documents so that they could lift latent fingerprints off of the paper and determine who has touched them. And, you know, most government employees, all government employees have their fingerprints on file. So that would be like really easy. And then fingerprints that you can't identify, well, there's a clue that that's not a government employee. And so, you know, it would get really interesting. Things that could have been done faster, more thorough, that are probably being done right now.
That's very interesting. They talk about in the reporting, there was documents, special access program materials. What is that? Is that I was reading a little bit about it. Help us understand it in layperson's term. Like how high level in the hierarchy of classified secure documents is this?
Yeah, this is up there. So I'll give you, I can't get into even, I'm even concerned about giving you hypothetical examples, but I'll say this. You've got top secret. A lot of people, here's a little nerdy classification trivia. A lot of people will go, oh, and there's even higher than top secret. Nope, there's nothing higher than top secret, but there are compartments within top secret. And that's where you hear SCI, secret compartmented, sensitive compartmented information. So that narrows, because you'll hear a lot of folks accurately say, you know, the government classifies way too much stuff. Yes, probably so. But now when you're getting into top secret and then sensitive compartmented information, even smaller, and just to give you an idea of how that works, there's even code words for those compartments. So if you want to meet somebody in the lunchroom and you're like at FBI headquarters and you want to go, can I talk to you about Foxtrot? And they go, I'm briefed on Foxtrot. I'm good for Foxtrot.
Okay.
That they're in that. Now, let's go even more sensitive and talk about special access programs. So I've had special access program access in my career, one of which I had to get polygraphed just to get the briefing. And then when it was no longer needed for me to have access, I got polygraphed out of the briefing to see if I had told anybody about it. So this is a very small group of people that will have different access to different incredibly sensitive programs within our government.
And I'm chatting with Frank Figliuzzi, former FBI assistant director. So Frank, a lot of times we're hearing now, and I think it was actually in the motion yesterday, I read it quickly from the press release last motion, which I read, what a piece of garbage that was. As a lawyer, I said, just a horrible garbage. But they're saying Donald Trump declassified all the documents. They're put this in pleadings now. And I hope the lawyers are checking on their standing as lawyers. I don't know how long it's going to sustain if they're going to lie. I'm not sure, I'm not saying they're lying, but if they are, can you explain to people two things? One is, can Trump just say these are declassified and that makes them declassified? And secondly, can you declassify a document, but what's still in it? What's in it? Like all of our spy locations, information, could that still be classified? So if you're leaving it around while the document might be declassified, you're still putting our national security at risk because someone's reading something that is highly sensitive to our nation.
So I tell you what, why don't you and I, when we're done with our talk here today, let's go offline and both of us will file a Freedom of Information Act request to the US government. And we'll say, hey, we hear that all those pages of classified documents that were at Mar-a-Lago are declassified, and we'd love to get a copy since now they're unclassified. And let's see what the answer is. You know what the answer is going to be? Screw you, Dean and Frank, because they're not declassified. They're not. And so I want to say this. The President of the United States is the ultimate classifier and declassifying authority. Yours truly, when I was AD at the FBI, I was what's called an original classifying and declassifying authority. With regard to the FBI, I could decide within my counterintelligence program what was classified, if it was FBI material, not if it was some other material. That's another thing we need to talk about, right? Look, if the Brits gave us something or the CIA gave us something, I have no authority over that, right? But I can also declassify. But guess what? I had to go through a process. I had to give a reason. What I had to select from a list of reasons, and I had to sign off on it. And forevermore, the document would have a stamp on it that said declassified by, and it would have my credential number from my FBI credentials, and would even give a purpose. So the answer is, can the president declassify whatever he wants? Yeah, maybe, except for nuclear atomic energy stuff, except for stuff that comes from outside the US government, which is a lot of what he gets briefed on, by the way. But he'd have to go through a process, and there'd have to be markings. Kash Patel better get an attorney soon, because Kash Patel is the guy saying, I knew all about this standing declassification order. I know all about it. Oh, good. You'll be telling a grand jury about that process, Kash.
It's now we've gone from all the president's men to all the president's man. It's Kash Patel out there on Fox News, because 19 or 20 undisclosed former Trumpers told CNN that we had no evidence for standing this. No, but so let's get back to the other part of that. Say he really did declassify a document. He goes, this is the Kash, this is declassified. And Kash goes, yes, sir, whatever you want. And what about the information contained in it? Is that different? Say it says where our spies are located in a certain, like in Russia. Well, the document might be declassified, but that information is still vitally important and sensitive to our nation. So by leaving it around, are you still potentially exposing yourself to criminal liability for not preserving, not protecting classified information?
Yeah, there's no question that once you know that you are retaining classified in an unauthorized place, and you've been told repeatedly, you've got to give it back. It's ours, not yours. It's the US government's. And you're doing that intentionally and willfully. You are violating federal law. Hence the 3 statutes that appear on the face of the search warrant for Mar-a-Lago, including espionage, and also this intriguing statute, right, that's been cited, which is essentially obstruction, falsifying, altering, destroying documents in an investigation. Wow. And the imagination runs wild. Are they referring to, with regard to falsifying, are they referring to the Trump lawyer who filed the document and said, you've got everything now? There's no more? Are they referring to the security camera footage from outside in the hallway, outside the storage room at Mar-a-Lago, where they see people carrying boxes in and out and changing the containers that documents are contained in? Is that altering or falsifying? Do they see markings on documents now that look like he whited out or covered up the header and the footer? I don't know.
But that would be crimes. That would,
yeah, no question.
Get your reaction. You touched on Christina Bobb is a lawyer. It was Corcoran, Evan Corcoran and Christina Bobb were Trump's lawyers involved with this. Christina Bobb, former OAN anchor. So right there, folks, you might have an idea about her. And later in the show, I have Danny Savalas, who's a criminal defense attorney. So he defends everything. I want to get your opinion as a former FBI agent. Have you ever seen a situation where, let's say Christina Bobb and Evan Corcoran relied on their client, Donald Trump, and he said, I have no more classified documents, even though they turned out now they found documents in his closet, in his office. Say he knew that, and he lied to his lawyers, and Christina Bobb is the one that's certified, and says they're based on best of knowledge, there are no more classified documents. Trump misleads her. Where does the buck stop in terms of criminal liability? Does it extend to Trump, or does it end with her?
I love this because it's a trap no matter where we go with this one. So
Right.
think about this. As you know, attorney-client privilege does not apply to crime or fraud, right? So here come the FBI agents. They're going to sit down with Ms. Bobb, and they're going to say, oh, did you knowingly file a false document? No. My client told me this. I was operating on his belief. Okay. So you've got to recuse yourself because, you're now a witness against your client. And then if she says, well, no, I honestly thought we had turned over everything. Oh, okay. So were you lying to us, or your client's not giving you access to everything because he's allowed you to submit a false document? You've got to recuse yourself. So I think either way we go here, she's got to recuse herself. She won't. But once the FBI agents knock on her door and she coughs up Trump, it's going to be a problem.
It is. The word escapes me. It's a German word for in chess when you have two moves, they're both bad. And I forgot the name now. I'm sorry, but that's the perfect situation. She's in that situation now.
Yeah.
Whatever she does, it's not good. It's a question of less or bad. But
and look, just if you needed any further evidence of how poor this legal team seems to be defending him, and I'm sure they'll try to catch up, but I don't know. Is she an insurance lawyer or something? No offense to insurance lawyers, but
lawyer.
I mean, there's not a lot of people on there that have criminal federal defense experience. And the very fact that they filed, did you see where they filed this motion for a special master?
Yeah.
They filed it in Fort Pierce, Florida. Do you
Oh.
know where Fort Pierce, Florida is?
No.
It's way north of Palm Beach, Florida. So it's the farthest north you can go and still be in the Southern Judicial District of Florida. And so he's shopping for a judge that he appointed. And today, what was the breaking news this afternoon? Today, that judge, Judge Kennan, said, hey, hold on a minute. I think maybe you're probably using me. And so you need to refile this thing. I don't understand it at all. Why did you here? What are you saying? It doesn't make any sense to me. So God bless Judge Kennan, and he's got to refile.
That's great. And it read like a press release with some legalese. I'm chatting with Frank Figliuzzi. A couple more minutes. I'll let you go. I know you got on Lester Holt. There's also reporting from the New York Times that Trump aides had tried to get him to give some documents. This is really interesting. We don't know the full detail. It's New York Times reporting based on sources. And Trump said, no, the documents are, quote, mine, like a child. What does this say from a legal point of view, from you as a former FBI agent, as a lawyer? What does this say?
Well, again, I love anytime Trump talks, in the sense that he usually incriminates himself and doesn't realize it. So these are mine. That quote actually cuts out from under him, cuts his legs out with regard to the defense that I thought this was an accident. The movers did it. No, they're mine. Okay, that's very interesting. But let me see, sir, in your motion for a special master, you are asserting executive privilege. By definition, executive privileged documents belong to the executive and the executive branch of the government. So, sir, is it that you believe you're still the president and still the executive? Is that what you're saying when you say they're mine? Or are you saying they are executive privileged and they belong to Biden and the administration? Which one is it? Are they yours or are they executive privileged? Because you can't have it both ways.
There's another thing today, Wall Street Journal. I sent it to you earlier. The Wall Street Journal FBI agents, according to sources, said they found during the search on August 8th, highly sensitive and classified documents lying in an unsecured place outside the storage room that Justice Department officials had earlier asked to be better secured. What does this say to you?
So first of all, there's a couple of things that could both have been going on simultaneously. Utter chaos, and that wouldn't surprise me, on how Trump files things, saves things, hoards things, flushes them, stuffs them in his desk. Utter chaos that would be exacerbated during a fast move out of the White House. Oh, okay. Or just utter disdain for how you're supposed to do things. Could be both. But here's the thing: when the incredible deference that DOJ and the National Archives showed the former president, and I get it, I absolutely get it, but when they go down there and they look around and they go, look, I know we're still working this out, and I know you're a former president, but while we're figuring this out, could you put another lock on the storage room door, right? And apparently, maybe he does. Little do they know that their trust is misplaced, because the agents ultimately on the warrant find that there's stuff in the closet in his office that's classified, right? And in other places. And then when they had subpoenaed the security footage from the hallway in front of the storage room, what do they see? Reportedly, people coming in and out with boxes, changing containers, the documents are in. So that's the door. Wait, that was double locked? That in this trusting relationship we have where we're negotiating, you're saying that don't worry about it, that's double locked, and there's people traipsing in and out of it. That's what it tells me.
Look, this requires speculation, but informed speculation, because you have years of experience as an FBI agent. In your heart, what do you think is going on here?
Dean, I have to tell you, I honestly don't know. I know that this former guy squirrels things away only for his benefit. If it's for his benefit, he'll do it.
Right.
I think he was waiting for the right time and place to do something with these documents. Now, there's a lot of people saying, some even, I've heard retired FBI people saying, look, we're tired of the FBI getting bashed. By God, they better have something more than just getting the documents back. But Dean, I have to tell you, I'm not in that camp. After a year and a half, a couple of subpoenas, documents and camera coverage, a physical visit, a lawyer saying, we've given you everything and it's wrong. That's it. That's enough. And so getting the documents back, 700 pages and now more.
Yeah.
Top secret, compartmented. Yeah, that I'll do a search warrant in a second on that. So that's okay. With regard to more, there's a reason why they chose those 3 statutes, including espionage, including destruction, falsification, and altering. And I think there is more, but there doesn't need to be more. There are documents, not his.
Do you think there's enough there to charge Donald Trump yet, or you can't tell?
Look, I'll hold off on that, but let's go through the statutory elements here. Did he know that they were classified and that they were there? Yep. That's willful intent. That's the espionage statute. By the way, we're talking espionage on a sub statute level, right? It's not that he gave it to the Russians. We don't know that. It's that you can retain unlawfully, willingly, intentionally with national defense information that you know can harm or injure the United States. Yep. And he knows that. He's been told it ad nauseum. God, he even being played over and over on TV today is this clip of him ranting about Hillary, where he goes, this is a violation of the Presidential Records Act that she's keeping emails. And so he actually quotes the Presidential Records Act. So yes, I do think he could be charged.
The last 2 things here. As a former FBI agent, when you see the level of threats now that have been directed against your former colleagues, the place you used to work, and we see I just wrote about this, no Republican leaders denouncing the threats, and there's silence in the face of this. How dangerous is this in the post-January 6th world? Because we can see what the lies can lead to. It's no longer speculative. We know. Just what's your reaction to that?
This becomes personal for me. I spent 25 years at the FBI. You know, the first thing I was thinking of, Dean, when I saw, for example, not only the Cincinnati, Ohio FBI field office incident where some guy, look, this guy's been duped. This guy died in the dirt of a cornfield in remote farmland in Ohio. I believe Ohio State Trooper snipers took him out after long negotiations. This guy thought he could walk into the Cincinnati reception room at FBI with an AR-15 slung over his shoulder, fire a nail gun at the bulletproof glass, and then get, because why? If you read his writings, his postings, because the Mar-a-Lago search, the troops are coming for my man Trump. It's all unlawful. He bought the lie, he died for it. When people are willing to die for a lie, Dean, we are in dangerous times. And then, you know, the following weekend, I saw armed people out in front of the FBI Phoenix field office. And I thought to myself, what about that night clerk at FBI doing the night shift at FBI Phoenix? What about her driving in? She's going to handle the radio traffic. She's going to do dispatch on the night shift at FBI Phoenix. She's got to pull her car through this group of wackadoodle armed guys with MAGA hats, and she's got to work her shift, and she's got to risk her life to go work the radio on the night shift. Really, that's where we are. Threats against FBI and their family members? No.
There was an article in the Washington Post this afternoon about IRS now doing a complete assessment of security because of that language, and they have not done one since, coincidentally enough, since Oklahoma City bombing by domestic terrorists. Very last thing, for people who listen to the show, because some are on the right, some others like me want to see Trump charged for the coup and the January 6th attack, and I still do that. Why does this matter? Why should it matter? And there's evidence of crimes, even if it's not what the January 6th was and the coup attempt, that Trump and anyone involved in this must be charged.
So a couple of things. If we live in a society that's supposed to be about the rule of law and the concept that no one is above that law, then this is everything. This is everything, because it's a former president who's thumbing his nose at the law. If you don't want to live, and by the way, there are many on the far right, you can watch them tonight on a certain news network, who actually would tell me Yeah, no, we're not about that. No, the president is above the law. No, we want a king. We want an authoritarian. We kind of like a dictator.
Right.
Okay, that's great. So I know who you are. Thank you for sharing that with me. I know where you stand. The other thing I would ask people on the far right, get all of the facts. Let me present all the facts to you. The year and a half of talks, the negotiations, the subpoena, the physical visit, the camera footage, and then the warrant. Tell me what you would have done differently. You want to complain? Good. Tell me, you're in charge now at DOJ. Tell me what you would have done differently over the course of that year and a half. Let me know. And they usually can't, they have nothing to say because they didn't get the facts right in the first place.
Oh, I know. They would call my show and they were bringing up all different things. I'm like, well, Frank, I appreciate it. And for me, yes, this is so vitally important for the rule of law. It's also, I feel on some level personal that he thinks he's better than us. He actually thinks he's above us and above the law. And I take that very personally. I don't know why. I really don't. Maybe I have no idea why. Maybe because I was a lawyer, maybe because I don't like the guy, but there's something personal about this with these documents, as well as January 6th, which is very personal, our democracy. He literally thinks he's above us. He's better than us. And I find that offensive. And if the elements of the crime are there, I hope they charge him. I always say, I don't want him charged because I hate him. I hate him. You don't charge someone because I hate the guy. Charge him if there's crime. So Frank, thanks so much for making time on a busy day, brother. Take care.
Take care. Be safe.